So, you want to buy a synth. I'm not talking about gas, forget that, you've got past that. You have decided you are going to buy a new synth. But perhaps you are wondering which synth you should buy. Now, that is not a strange question, although perhaps you already have a list of synthesizers you would like to buy. But quite often you will see questions on forums such as, I want a subtractive synth or a wavetable synth. What would you recommend? Or I have synth A, synth B, synth C. What do you think would complement those? So it's actually quite common wanting to have something else but not being entirely sure what that something else might be. Now, if you already know exactly what synth you want, then switch off this video, go buy it. If you're not entirely sure, keep watching. In this video, I'm going to suggest 2 methods you can use to decide which synth to buy. Now, there are videos on YouTube which explain how to do this, and the first method I'm going to go through is what I would call the sensible method, and it's basically the same sort of information you will get from most videos. It's sensible. You know it makes sense. The second method is what I may refer to as the better method. And I am prepared to be shot down and disagreed with, but it tends to be the method I gravitate towards when I'm trying to make a decision about whether or not to get a new synth. So let's start by being sensible. The first thing most people will suggest you do is to look at your current setup and see if there's anything missing. Do you have analog synths but no digital synths, or vice versa? Do you have keyboards which are short with mini keys, and would you like a big keyboard, or does that not matter to you? Do you have synths which are very hands-on and would perhaps like to explore something a little bit deeper, perhaps with a menu you have to dive into? So that's normally the first suggestion. See what's missing so you can plug the gap. How sensible is that? The next criteria is also very important, and that is to set a budget. Now, personally, I will not go into debt to buy a synthesizer or indeed any musical equipment. I realise for some people this may be unavoidable if you are just starting off or are young and don't have a lot of money. We were all there once upon a time. But if you set a budget, you know it is something you can afford, and you can look at instruments in that price range. The next thing to do is to make a list of potential synths within that budget. Also very sensible. And to help distinguish one from the other, it is often suggested you make a list of the features you would like in this synth. Then you can check off the features against each of the synthesizers and see how they all stack up one against the other. I also think it's important to make a list of the cons of each synth. You can usually get these from reviews, some reviews at any rate. Some synths are more complex than others. Some synths require more menu diving than others. Some synths are so incredibly powerful you may really need a visual editor on your computer. Now, some of these cons are going to be more important than others, so it's important you make a list of your own personal pros and cons. Anyway, having done all that, if you tot up the number of ticks against all the boxes, against all the synthesizers, you should come out with a winner. In theory, at least. But here's the thing. As creative people, we are, a lot of us at any rate, driven more emotionally than logically. So checking off a list of features against a number of synthesizers may be incredibly sensible and may in fact produce the most suitable synth for your situation. It doesn't always produce the synthesizer that you really want. So here is my number 2 better method. Buy the synth that you really want. Now, does this mean we throw all the sensible lists out of the window? Well, not necessarily. I am going to assume this is perhaps a large assumption, that the synth you really want is going to be in there somewhere. Perhaps it has one or two features missing that some of the other synths have. Perhaps it doesn't quite tick all the boxes, but for one reason or another it is a synthesizer that you have got your heart set on and you really want in your studio. Now, why is that so important? Well, I think you probably know. If you have an instrument that you want, it is more likely to inspire you. You are more likely to use it more often. You are more likely to make music with it. And if you got a synth, let's say one that did tick all the boxes, which was not the synth that you really want, yes, you might use it and do all your music stuff with it, but at the back of your mind you would be thinking, maybe I should have got the other one after all. We are, as creatives, I think, emotional people, and we have an emotional attachment, some more than others, to our equipment. You probably have a favourite synth, even a favourite plug-in. You'll have a favourite DAW. Now, I don't know how emotionally attached you are to any of these, but I'm willing to bet if you have some hardware, you will have a favourite piece of hardware which you really enjoy using. And that is the purpose, I think, of getting a new piece of gear. Something that you will enjoy using and enjoy making music with. So that's it. That's my sensible and better way to buy a synthesizer. Let me know if you have used one method or the other, and let me know what you think. Is my better way actually better? So I hope you found this interesting and useful. As always, thank you so much for watching. And if you have enjoyed this video, perhaps you would like to consider subscribing to the channel, ringing the bell. Thank you. So YouTube will tell you as soon as I post a new video. And clicking the big thumb, that is a big help as well. And if you have enjoyed this video, I think you might enjoy these videos as well. Thank you again. I will see you soon in the next one.